Unsyndicated presents What the Puck with Sean Baligian.
Up, I'm Sean Baligian. He's Mike Iavasile. You knew that was coming.
I had to. It had to.
You knew that was coming. You know what I have to look up? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to on the What the Puck thing that I'm about to share. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call Lions schedule release pregame show. How's that?
I like it. I like pregame.
Lions schedule release pre-game show. Mike, let's start with Maple Leaf. I think you and I were texting each other all the other night, or so Mike's in a group text with us that he can't respond to. I don't know how that happened. But somehow Mike is in a group text with us that he can't respond to. So, Mike, I think you saw my text in the group text that you can't respond to. Good evening, Tom. What I saw in Game 3, more specifically Game number 4, was Florida start to lay on Toronto. And what I mean by that is all the people out there like me that have called them Charmony soft. You're watching them forecheck them to death. You're watching them make the physical price be paid, et cetera, et cetera. Toronto has a chance to take some of that power back tonight. But certainly everything screams that this is leaning Florida's series.
Yeah, if I could reply in that text message, Friday Game 3 would have been eventful just because, let's just say, I don't remember Game 3, if you know what I'm talking about. But I got home from Game 4, and if I could reply in that text message from Game 4, it all just would have said, this is the most Maple Leaf the Maple Leafs had looked all playoff. The soul was stolen out of that team. They look scared. The forecheck had them looking like Tampa looked in round 1 against Florida, just flinging pucks anywhere. Marner and Matthews, I have no soul in their eyes. It's gone. Tavares is gone. Nice is trying his hardest, but without Stolarz, I just think the backbone of that team is gone.
It is remarkable, Mike, and we are really at that point now, okay, where Poppy deserves every bit of scrutiny and scorn that goes his way. It has been a long enough thing now. This is well beyond a trend. This is a guy that hasn't shown up in big games time and time and time. And Ray, the Leaf fan, said, go Leafs. Ray, I think you would be hard-pressed to disagree with this. All the things that people are saying about Poppy right now are absolutely earned. This is a guy that time and time again, and Mike, you know I felt this way. I've honestly said it 198 times. I think Willie Nylander has been bunched in, and it's not right, to be honest with you. But if you want to be called one of the best players in the world, and you continuously disappear at playoff time, you deserve every bit of scorn that comes your way.
And if I have to hear one more talking head make an excuse that he's hurt, maybe it's a hand, he's not Sean, playoffs are made for injured players, and that's where you make your legacy. How many players have had surgery immediately after lifting the Stanley Cup? So you have to stop that. That is part of the storyline that you've been talking about, and that me and you have been talking about for a long time about this guy.
Yep. We'll get to another narrative in a second. Ray brings up another one, and it pains me to say it because this is a personal rooting interest for both Mike and I. Just look at Iavasile's jersey. Show everybody your jersey. That's awesome. They made jerseys for us. How long was that? Like 3 years ago now?
3 years ago, and they would have seen them 3 years ago, except for
Iavasile. Ken Holland, general manager of the Kings. Adam Foote, coach of Vancouver. Tocchet, Philly for coach. Let's start with Tocchet. Makes sense. Finally came back home. He was those Philly teams of the late 80s and early 90s before he went to Pittsburgh. He was like a heart and soul guy. Adam Foote, good for him. I'm going to say the same thing tonight that I told Matt Shepard last night. I really like Ken Holland. I really, really like Ken Holland. Forgive me for saying this, Mike. I don't like to say things like this because you come across as a douche. I got along very, very well with Ken Holland. I did. Let me also say, I think Ken Holland's best years are behind him. I think his best years are behind him. And I'm not so sure the way the NHL is today is for Ken Holland at this point in time in his career. How's that?
I agree. He's chasing it, Sean. He's chasing the stamp on his legacy. All the doubters that said his best times were before the salary cap. Now, because you got to take a look at what he did in Edmonton. This is his team playing right now. Yep. I mean, he brought these guys in. You talk about how many teams don't do well in the playoffs because they can't add those pieces. He's added those pieces, be it Perry, Ekholm, Connor Brown, Hyman. I mean, these are guys that are key parts to their Stanley Cup. Obviously, just like in Detroit, he left without a goalie that probably could put them over the top. But he's looking for that stamp, and he's looking at taking a team over in LA that looked very similar to Edmonton when he got there.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Ray, I'll get back to your other question in a second, but he said now that Quenneville is in Anaheim, who gets in the playoffs first, Detroit or the Ducks? It is fascinating that you asked that question, but I know what an educated hockey fan you are. For everybody else out there, you want to try to see what Steve Yzerman's doing, look at what Pat Verbeek is doing and vice versa. I have no other way to say that. They're both dealing from the same deck. Now, how well one is doing it compared to how well the other is doing it, that's a conversation that we can have. But you have got to take my word when I tell you this, and don't forget that they kind of come from the same roots, and, you know, he was here for a while as well. What Pat Verbeek is trying to do is what Steve Yzerman is trying to do, and vice versa. Mike, I think you and I have both gone on record. If I were a betting man right now, without knowing what happens July 1st, without knowing what trade Steve Yzerman might make, just going on what they have right now and what they might have, and might with a capital M, come up from Grand Rapids, I think it's safe to say, I can speak for you here, I don't think either one of them think they're a playoff team next year.
No, I hope not. Well, I mean, you always have to hope that your team has that hope, but hope is not a great thing sometimes. But I can't see that, and I can't see you asking that question, them saying, "Oh yeah, we're a solid playoff team." Not where we stand right now. No,
not at all. Ray said, "Can you explain how a goalie of Hellebuck's caliber can play one way at home and different on the road?" I can't explain how that guy can look. Well, you just answered it. I can't explain how that guy can look so good during the regular season and consistently be the second best goaltender on the ice in every series he plays. It's unbelievable to me, Mike.
And I'm sure, Sean, as I do, I know you do, we listen to the interviews, we watch a lot of the post-game garbage. He doesn't even talk like a guy that's there mentally. The things that he says, like after winning the series barely against the Blues, saying the monkey's off my back, I'm in a good spot, I'm right where I want to be. Like he says some things that really question, like he's overthinking everything, and that's about how you can sum him up in net. Like it's an overthink. He is probably the most out of position goalie I've seen this year.
It's incredible. Absolutely, absolutely incredible. All right. Austin said, "Good evening, fellas. I know we're talking hockey, but I watched a show with Shep, and for your information, I looked it up, and the last time the Lions had a schedule this difficult was the year Bobby Ross tapped out He gave us incredible drops, though. Boy, wasn't that the truth. Abandoned ship, womp, womp, womp. I don't coach that stuff. I played a few of those drops on the show back in the day. I wish Yzerman wasn't so old school while the UFA class sucks. There are some interesting guys to offer sheets to in the restricted free agent market, but we won't do it. I would be shocked if he did it. How's that? I would be. I think you might see some offer sheets this year. It's not the that it used to be. I think you might see some this year. I don't think Steve Yzerman will be one of them.
No, St. Louis pulled the Band-Aid off on that one last summer, huh? And there's interesting names, and this is what I said when I was in Nashville, and you guys were sitting on the couch, and I don't know if you guys caught my text or how I got to put it, and I said Nice is going to steal Marner's money, but that's only if someone doesn't steal Nice, because he's going to get an offer sheet, Sean. Yeah, everyone's talking about it, and it's going to be big, and they're going to have to pony up. And some guys are going to have to go. And again, as they're singing the national anthem here in the game, we're 60 minutes away from knowing how fast they'll be gone.
A goalie said Mike nails it. It's 100% mental. No doubt about it. Yeah. That's the answer. That's the only answer. I'm sorry, a guy that good. And he really is. You guys have seen how good he is. A guy that good. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I'm going to say it again. He is not all that ails the Winnipeg Jets. Cheveldayoff had a master plan. The Hockey News crowned them fucking Stanley Cup champion 3 years in advance. And it goes to show you sometimes the quote-unquote masterclass on how to rebuild a franchise doesn't exactly come to fruition. And now they don't have Laine to blame for it, right? Because if you remember, so much of it was blamed on Laine. And I'm not saying that Laine isn't Laine, okay? Because I'm watching it up close and personal in Montreal. Dude's out there. I mean, just no other way to say that, okay? But when the same things continue when the alleged problem leave, that tells me that there's trouble in the water up in Manitoba.
The mental thing also spread, Sean, because the other guys may be ready, but when you know the guy that has to be ready, Hellebuck is not, you can't play the same game. And as soon as that first goal went in, you can just see it. They start pressing and things to stay on Winnipeg, but go in a different direction. I don't know if you've caught him, but how good's Blake Wheeler? How good is he? Yes. He stepped right in and he's breaking down play. Unbelievable. I thought he's been really good in the post game in between periods.
By the way, Ted said, good evening, fellas. Maple Leaf choke at home tonight. Does Edmonton send Vegas to the casino tonight? I think that series goes on. I really do, Mike. I think that series goes on. I think Edmonton's going to win, though. I think my Stanley Cup pick's out. I do. I think Edmonton's going to win. Ted, you missed it earlier, and I'd still be intrigued to hear from our resident Leaf fan, Ray, in there. Florida is leaning heavy on Toronto right now, and it really started to exact a toll. I thought, like, the first period in particular of Game 4, their forecheck was insane. And look, I think the biggest Maple Leaf fan would admit it. They're Charmony soft, right? They're Charmony soft.
And Florida is one of 3 teams right now playing uncomfortable hockey. Florida, Carolina, and Edmonton are playing that in-your-face game, Sean. If you have the puck, they're on you. They're in your face. They're not playing like Dallas, like Washington, like Toronto likes to play, basically off the puck and keep themselves between you and the goalie. They can get comfortable. Florida has made Toronto is almost as uncomfortable as Tampa was in the first round. It's really incredible.
It is. Hey, by the way, All About Catering LLC is a full-service caterer. Graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people, All About Catering can and will take care of you. Customer service and satisfaction is the number one goal. Listen, it's graduation season. You got somebody that is graduating. Well, first of all, congratulations to them, okay? But don't sweat your event. Go to allaboutcateringllc.com today. Check out their menus and all their 5-star reviews, or give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Hey, do you remember those good old days a couple of years ago, Mike, where I remember talking to you about it. We probably talked about it on the shows last year. I thought Rantanen was by far the most underrated player in the National Hockey League. And I didn't hesitate to tell anybody. Those days are long gone now. As Ray said, Rantanen play in the playoff. He's showing why he was worth the money he signed for. If he hasn't awakened you, where have you been? He's been unbelievable. And that team, Mike, that team is showing everybody why so many people at the beginning of the year picked them to go to the Stanley Cup final, because when they're healthy, look out. I didn't think they'd get past Colorado with the 2 missing pieces, so I didn't pick them. And here they are. Boy, are they dangerous right now.
And you've got Heiskanen in his first game back, and Robertson is not 100% back. And I don't even know if when he's 100% back, if he'll be 100%. The only thing that scares me about them, Sean, is they play just like Washington. They play extremely soft zone in their D zone, and they just get lost. And that's why if they match up against, be it Vegas or Edmonton, I don't like it for them. But right now, boy, oh boy, are they playing good, and Ottinger's doing it right too.
Nice to see Mr. Positive out there. Go Tigers, Mr. Positive. Hubie, our buddy Hubie. Hubie is betraying us on Saturday and not coming over, by the way, Mike.
Oh, that shocks me. I'm sure he's taking his sausage and going somewhere else.
You will see offer sheets, Holloway and Broomberg signing with the Blues in the seasons they had. Bill said LFG Leafs, LFG Original 6. Ray asked, how was Pearl Jam?
Ray? I mean, I sound like Sean talking about the Habs here. You know, I'm going to go slappy. But they get better with age. They now have mastered the 25 set song list. They used to do a set list of 30, 35 songs. They only do 25. They've mastered it. They sound incredible. The energy is incredible. And I can't wait because I see them again in 48 hours.
Jets 6, middle 6 hasn't showed up. Guys like Ehlers, Velarde haven't been that good compared to the regular season. Yeah, Austin, I'm not going to argue with you, but it's an organizational thing now. It really is. I mean, it is. It's almost like, it's the playoffs and we just have to like go quietly into the night. It's insane. It really is. Memorial Cup shaping up to be Oshawa in London is something that we've been keeping our eyes on. No doubt about that. Which series surprised you more? We haven't even touched on this one yet. Vegas, Edmonton, or Carolina, Washington? You go first, Mike.
I'm going to be honest. I can't say either of them have surprised me. I love Washington because of the bet I have on them, but Carolina's just that seasoned team that's going to be they're Florida 2.0. They just don't have the studs, in my opinion, that Florida does. If there's one thing I'd say out of that, I am surprised. It's Freddie Wah Anderson.
You keep stealing my fucking thunder tonight, man, and it's actually pissing me off. But you know what? The bigger surprise to me is Vegas and Edmonton, because you're talking about Calvin Pickard and Bad Skinner, right? And there's no way it can happen 2 years in a row, right? And it's happening again. Mike, I couldn't agree. Do you know? So I picked Carolina at the beginning of the playoff to go to the finals. And then after watching Logan Thompson play so well, I was like, Logan Thompson or Freddie Anderson, who you got in round 2, right? Well, of course it's Logan Thompson. Freddie Anderson has been unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, what world are we in? I mean, that's another one of those things. And trust me, they were talking about this down in Carolina when I was doing games for them a few years back. Who's our goalie? Who's our guy? Who's the ace in the hole? You know, because at that point in time, that was Cam Ward's last year. And then the next year that I did games for them, he was already gone. But you know what I mean, Mike? So this has been a conversation down in Raleigh for 6 years now, right? Who's the good? The Russian kid, they thought that was going to be their goaltender of the future. Freddie freaking Anderson. Like, what world are we living in, right?
Yeah, a 1.46 and a 9.48 save percentage or something like that. But to that Vegas Edmonton series, let's not forget, everyone's been shoving it down our throat. Mr. Skinner, Mr. Game 4 through 7, 11-1. His only loss is that Game 7 in the Stanley Cup, and he looked all the part. But how good, Sean? I know I sent you the text right before I went night. How good was that first period? That best period of hockey I can remember.
Mike, I tweeted it out. I said this first period is on acid. And it had everything. And you and I were talking about that even before the physicality started. Like, just, oh yeah, you guys think you've seen something, and then it went. That was unbelievable. Agreed. The best period of hockey in a long time. How's that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't need the physicality part of like the drop in the mitts and the physicality of, if you had the puck, you were getting run through the boards because they were so fast and aggressive to the puck. The pace of that game, I think that's what I said. I'm going to bed, but I hope they can keep the pace of this up because it is just incredible.
It was, Mike, it was like throwing in that dash of Tony Cacciachari or whatever.
Oh, yeah, baby.
When all of a sudden you start to do that, it's like, okay, that's fantastic. Hey, let me tell you about the Wealth Advantage Group. These guys located in historic downtown Northville, owned by those two guys right there, the Handsome brothers, Mike Husak on the left, Jeff Husak on the right, over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are, and that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Listen, I can talk to you about, I don't know the first darn thing about it. You know what? We called these guys 15 years ago. They took care of us. They can take care of you as well. You're ready for retirement, getting ready for retirement. Maybe you're looking to sell a company. Doesn't matter. These guys can work you through every stage of life. That's what they do. And they have clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is a complex one. And if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it's time to work with the experts. Reach out to my friends at the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574. Check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Here's a great question. Will the Red Wings ever retire 91? I will say yes, but it will be years from now. It will be years. And I can't exactly tell you why I think it'll be years from now, but it'll be years from now. I think everybody knows the backstory. There was from some frustration with the former Red Wing owner and his wife. And I think some time has to pass. How's that? And Mike, do you want the truth? I don't think Sergei Fedorov did anything wrong.
No.
I don't think Sergei Fedorov did what pretty much every other athlete would do. And I think I told you this story. We had Pat Brisson was his agent, and you may have been listening for all I know. We had him on literally minutes after midnight at that deadline, and he explained to us everything that was going on. And we know the decision was made, but sour grapes. How about that? A lot of sour grapes. And I think that I'm just going to say it. I think a couple people have to pass before that happens.
I think you're spot on.
It'll happen one day, but I don't think anytime soon.
Yep, that is, you are the expert on that one. I've heard you talk about it many, many, many times, and I think every time you speak on it, you're spot on.
Matthews is the invisible man. Sorry, guys. It's all the things that we say about, we were talking about Hellebuck. We can start putting Matthews' name in there, man. This isn't a small sample size anymore. Robertson is in tonight. Hopefully more speed helps. How healthy is he? I think is the big question. Coach Hunter, hello. Is McDavid out of Edmonton next year when his contract is up? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. Mike?
I'm going to say no because you can't leave a Stanley Cup champion.
We need to do Big Bob what Edmonton did to Hill. Run him, but legally get in his kitchen the paint. Ray, I couldn't agree with you more. You have to push back, and you can't push back against their forecheck. I think you have to push back in places like that. How's that? I agree with you. What allowed Bowman to have all his Stanley Cup winning teams ready to play and win such big games? Was he the mental mastermind of coaches? I'm going to quote two different players of his who said it in their own unique way. For 364 days of the year, Scotty Bowman teams were united in their hatred of him. And on the 365th day, they went and picked up their Stanley Cup ring. Perfect. That's a real quote. That's a real quote. And Scotty knew who to push, how to push, who he could get away with pushing, who he could not get away with pushing. He knew when to back off. He knew when to go all in. He was a master at working the room. Absolute master at working the room. Absolute master. Rimouski, London, Medicine Hat. London will be looking to erase the disappointment in Saginaw last year. No doubt about that. I still can't believe they did that. Nick, good evening to you. Mike, here's another question. Hey, listen, we're going to do a Pearl Jam podcast here. What's your favorite Pearl Jam song, Mike? Mine is Rear View Mirror.
Well, I answered that last time, Tremor Christ, which I'm hoping they play in Pittsburgh. It's a kind of a rare one, but for Bill there, Rear View Mirror, they put it in a different spot in the set list Thursday night in Nashville and absolutely crushed it. So he should get that bootleg and give it a listen.
Mike G. Sean, Mike, what are your thoughts on Matthew Nyes and the Wings coming off his rookie contract? He's already laying up for the Leafs. I think the Leafs would be absolutely moronic to let that guy walk away. I think you've seen the end of Johnny T, the hometown boy, coming back to Toronto. Unless he wants to give the quote unquote hometown discount. I cannot envision that happening. I can't. So I think what you've seen, Mike, is the end of Johnny T in Toronto.
I believe so. He's the easiest one to say that is gone, but with the money I think Nice is going to get, unless he decides to let him, for whatever reason, bridge it, you can't keep Marner, and I just don't think you can keep Marner for other reasons.
Yeah. Mike did go to Mike's been to many. Mike, do you know how many you've been to Pearl Jam concerts? If you could put a number on it, do you have any idea?
If I could put a number, I'm inching towards 35. Someone asked me this weekend, and I said I remember it was like 25, I believe, when I went to their 20th anniversary concert out in Wisconsin. So it's got to be close to 35. I'd have to sit down and actually have a memory.
Really, that many, Mike?
Yeah. And you think I the only time I've missed a tour was the remake of the COVID concert, and that was because I ended up in Minnesota with Sebi when my Hamilton tickets were supposed to be. So I've gone to every tour that they've had in the States or Canada, and usually I just like one show, but every so often I get frisky like this year, and I do too. So it adds up after 800 years, right?
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's get to some other comments here. Anderson was not the problem for the Leafs. We just kept running into Boston. Do you know what the problem with Freddie is, though, if I may be so bold? Freddie just doesn't make you feel confident. I mean, he just doesn't. He doesn't make you feel confident. There's no other way to say that, you know, and it's not, he's never been that guy that, ooh, Freddie Anderson, you know, kind of strike the fear of the good Lord in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's never really had that run, that series, that time, that extended time of where you're like, I mean, if you met, when Bobrovsky was in Columbus, it took a while for him to get there. Then all of a sudden some big playoff wins, and here we go. Freddie Anderson could be at that point of his career right now, Sean. What he's doing right now, I made the Freddie Waugh joke to you when we were watching it last week, and it just really is 146,948. That's Conn Smythe. That's bottom line Conn Smythe.
Panthers, Leafs, real dirtbag series, 0 F's given. I'll say it again. I love the way the Panthers play hockey. I love it. Absolutely love it. It's enjoyable. The questions about their demise have been greatly exaggerated. I mean, they show that they've got a lot of tank left in the gas. Canes play the hockey equivalent of Service Academy football. They play North, then clog you up on the back end, shot on net, dirty goals, rinse and repeat. Starts with the coaching staff. It really does. And as I said, even when I was working down there, it was just like you knew all the talent they had. Did they have the goalie? And right now, their goalie looks pretty damn good. Do you agree with the analysis who compare the Panthers to the Pistons bad boys? No. And I'll tell you why. The Pistons bad boys were knocking jaws off and things like that. I think there's a difference between playing physical and playing to the edge, with Tkachuk dancing over the edge, obviously, and like assassinating people. Mike, your thoughts?
I'd say the same thing. When you look at what the bad boys did, it was so far out the box of what basketball was at that time. You would have to go to the Broad Street Bullies to kind of get that comparison to where in hockey terms, they were way out there. It was fight, fight, fight big. This is just good, gritty hockey. Like it just really is. In my opinion, it's the way the game should be played.
Great Fedorov take. Thanks, Sean. Or no, you're welcome, Bill. If they retire Fedorov's number, I just hope he doesn't get the Pete Rose treatment and they wait until he's not around to enjoy it. It'll happen. You know what? Within 10 years. How's that? I like, honestly, I don't mean to be, I think a couple people have to die off. There, I said it. Really, I think that's what it, unlike Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson had to die off, I think a couple people have to die off. And then maybe something will happen. Can we just leave 34 alone? He's like 60% and he left it on the ice in the Four Nations. No. You know it. Mike, you know it. Listen, I'm not even saying it's right. I'm not even saying it's right. When people put you on a pedestal and you have regular seasons that are put on a pedestal, and then time after time after time, you would have a point if it was just this series. But how many series have we seen this out of Austin Matthews? I'm not being funny. Mike, I remember telling you during that comeback in 21, the only one I thought that was worth a damn was Willie Nylander. The only one. It was amazing. Where's Marner? Where's Johnny T? Where's the hometown boy? Where's Poppy? I get what you're saying. It is unfair that clearly he's dinged up, but it's no longer an exception. Like this is the rule now. This is what Austin Matthews has done during his career. I think he's a phenomenal player, but this is what he's done in his career. That's it.
And he had a play in the game-winning goal too. So that could be the 40% that he left there. But again, that's great. But there's so many guys out here that are 60% that you're not saying they're ghosts. And that's what he is right now. He's an absolute ghost.
Thoughts on Tocchet taking the head coaching gig? We hit on it earlier. Mike, it's a good fit. We both like it. Philly's got a lot of work ahead of them, though. A lot of work ahead of them. Thoughts on Kenny Holland taking the wheel? Mike, I'm going to say it again, and I know this isn't a popular take. Ken Holland as a human being is one of my favorite people. I don't hesitate to say that. I really like Ken Holland. Mike, you know I like Ken Holland, like go have breakfast with Ken Holland type stuff. I say this with all respect because I think he's a very good and decent man. I think today's game has passed him by. Yeah. I think today's game has passed him by. How's that? Which lottery first pick has got you questioning more? Islanders or Mavs? The NBA. Sorry. Just. Oh, look at this. Mike, I don't want to say this, but Mike said 10 was the best. Should have just stopped there.
Where was that? Who said that?
Putnam.
Wow. That's a strong take. Hey, I'll tell you what, Mike. You could still get out to a concert and enjoy it because they play a ton of 10, but I just don't know if you've honestly given it a listen. If you haven't listened to their new album, it's really good. It just really is.
Bill said Versus is a better album than 10. I said what I said. All right. Is there anyone you guys can interview Habs man for your podcast? That would Mike could have a conversation with them. That HBO sports documentary on the Broad Street Bullies is a fantastic watch. It was, no doubt about that. Is it just me, or do we just expect more out of Rasmussen? I'm still waiting. Thoughts on Moose? He is what he is. Mike, he is what he is.
I don't understand. People have a hard time with that. He is a bottom six guy. He could be a really good bottom six guy, and he could be a good bottom six guy on a team that goes deep in the playoffs. But that's what he is.
Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy to get help with their home and auto insurance? Our friends at Legacy, and there they are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They're great hockey fans. You guys, like, seriously, I don't know if you know that. They're huge hockey fans. They provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Now, Legacy has helped listeners and my family by fixing mistakes other agents have made. That's a true story. Asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you and, help save you some money. That's really a true story. Chances are you're like me. You hadn't checked your policies in the last year. You're paying too much and you could be underinsured. What are you waiting for? Give Legacy a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Could the Sabres trade Thompson 2 first-round picks plus Danielson? I think the Sabres would probably want more than that. I don't think the first-round picks mean anything to them right now. Seriously. That's just one man's opinion. I think they've had their fill of first-round picks. Does that make sense? That's just one man's – I'm not saying I'm right. I just think that's one man's boy, Mike, we're getting as many questions about the Pearl Jam concert. Mike, who was the opening act for the concert? And Days of You and Me is a song about Matthews in the regular season. So go on.
It was Teen Jesus and the jean jackets. They were, Sean, they were awful.
I'll never forget.
They are awful. And he's talking the song Future Days, which another song hopefully they play in Pittsburgh. Let's oh boy. Okay.
All right. Days of You and Me is a song about Matthews in the regular season. Can you comment on that? That one's over my head.
I think it's Future Days is a song by Pearl Jam, a real good song. But I mean, it's not anything so sad that Matthews, we have to put that on Matthews. I mean, come on now.
Where do Kaner and Tays play next year? The Tays thing, I'm not sure anybody's going to jump at that. Mike, I think we talked about this. If you said to Patrick Kane, we'd like to keep you around, we're going to give you the exact same number. Would you do that?
Would I do that?
Yeah. Would you say come back?
What was the number again? What was he close to? 4?
I think it was 4. Yeah.
I would half it because he only plays half. He plays no defense. He's only good on 6-on-5, 5-on-4, 5-on-3. I'd give him 2.
Thoughts on the new Utah logo? Looks like a create a team logo option from a video game. I give it a 3 out of 10. I don't mind the name. I didn't like the logo. How's that?
Yeah, I'm going to be picking that hat up in the Utah airport in June. So I kind of like it. To me, it's just a little too similar to the Preds.
Tatum tears his Achilles on a fluke play, yet the NHL is faster, and you never see guys get hurt like they do in the NBA. Isn't that amazing? You're so right, Ray. Mike, because I love the show, isn't Putnam great? Look at this.
Yes.
Because I love the show, I will listen to the new album tomorrow on my 7-hour drive back to Tampa. How's that?
I love it. My only advice is you gotta listen loud. I don't know what it is, Sean. It's the oddest thing. When you play that album live but loud, it hits totally different.
Wool is keeping us in the game. I haven't been able to see it, but that doesn't surprise me. 1-0 Florida. Yeah. Nick says 2 out of 10. I'm with you guys. I did not like that. I did not like that logo. Mike is heading to Mormon country to see another Pearl Jam concert. Are you, Mike? Are you going anywhere else this year?
No, Pittsburgh's going to be the last one Friday. Their tour will end Sunday. I am headed to Cabo, and our layover is in Utah.
Okay. Fantastic. So are you going to be over on Saturday then? Or are we still, is that still on the up?
Yeah, it's 7:00. I have zero plans to not be there. I don't think there's going to be a game, but there's going to be plenty of food, so I will be there.
That's how we were going to end it. I was going to ask you point blank. Okay. So with the 2 games tonight, how does Panthers Leaf end? Florida in 6. That's where I'm going.
I want to say 6, Sean, and I will say 6. I agree with that. I'm gonna say 6, Florida in 6. But to see Marchand steal their hearts in Game 7 would just make me so effing happy.
Vegas and Oilers. When does that end?
I'm saying tonight.
Really?
Yep. Game 5, Skinner.
I'm going to say Oilers in 6. I'm picking against my Stanley Cup. Canes and Caps. Is that over tomorrow?
Done. That is over tomorrow. The Caps are done.
Stars and Jets. I think that's a game we get Saturday. Seriously. I do. I think we'll get a game on Saturday.
And that would be Game 6, right?
Yeah, that would be back in Dallas. I think Jets hold serve, and I think that's the game we get Saturday night.
Yeah, it would be one of those. I wouldn't be surprised if that's another 4-0 shutout for the Jets like they did in Game 2. Like they're going to come together. They're going to play wall in the whiteout. Yeah, definitely. That would be the game.
Montreal will trade Line for bags of peanuts. Yeah, I mean, after you know how that went. Drew said the USA team is hard to watch. So much youth, not a ton of top-tier experience, talent mixed with subpar goaltending. Yeah, it's I know I said this a couple months ago, and I'll reiterate it. I'm happy that Dylan Larkin, yay guys, go Team USA. The reality is most guys don't care. Don't get mad at me. That's just the reality of it. I'm sorry. I don't know what to. A couple guys have brought up Kyle Connor when his contract's up. He's a Washington Township guy. I think Washington Township, is where he's from. I know it's out that way. Always puts up numbers. No doubt about that. How good is he? I have my opinions, Mike. I have my opinions.
He's another one of those guys when you watch, he's got all the skills and tools, Sean, everything you'd want in a hockey player. But just like we say, every year when this time comes around, Sean, it takes it's not about the speed or the hands or the shot. It takes something different, and it's hard to explain to be that player, that guy in the playoffs. And and that's what you need. Yep.
Shauner never gives Larkin any flowers. I love that bit. I love that bit. I would take him. I would take him on the Montreal Canadiens as the number 2 center every day of the year. Every day of the year. Honestly. Really. And that's where he should be because they have a real number 1 center in Nick Suzuki, so he should be at number 2 anyway. Look at our boy Jimmy Young. World Tourney is a fiasco. You guys have it going on. That's why I just thought that was a silly take by Dylan Larkin. I did. Don't disrespect our captain. Yeah. No more Michigan local guys. We have a country club locker room. I want dirty, nasty, poor Canadians. Jeremy has spoken. Panthers in 6. Kyle Connor disappeared for the Jets physically. I hear Mike. I think Mike picked up on what he's a fine player, but that's what I would say.
And every guy that wants to be a superstar year round, Sean, they have that transformation at some point in their career, and they become that 200-foot all season playoff hockey player. It's something that happens. I don't know how it happens. I don't know if it's a veteran. I don't know if it's a coach. Or if, just this epiphany they have one day when they wake up. But a lot of the greats have had it, and it's something someone like Kyle Connor has to get.
1,000%. And you always talk about next level, and the next level doesn't necessarily mean, using Steve Yzerman as an example, you go off for $155, right? You have 155 points. He was twice the hockey player when he had half that total. Don't know what to tell you. That's the reality of it. Hey, when it comes time to getting yourself a house, you're buying, you're selling, oftentimes both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? That young lady right there, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. And when it's time to make your move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure that you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyer. Doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She will help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. We're going to get out of here in a second. I love this question from Mike G. I really do. I'm incredibly biased, so you're not going to be surprised at my answer in any way, shape, or form. Okay? And I think you know this, Mike. Mike said, which Tkachuk brother would you rather have on your team? I like both of them. I know many people, including our buddy Jimmy Young, is not a fan of them. Give me Brady. Give me Brady. I'm serious. Give me Brady. I still think there's a level there with him as well. And I'm not just talking about him dropping the mitts and beating the piss out of an overager in his first game in the USHL. I was fortunate enough to do his broadcast for a couple years. I like Brady Tkachuk. I like Brady Tkachuk a lot. I think it's close, but I would take Brady.
I can't. That is not just a great question. That's a tough question because they're very similar in kinds of ways. Even though Dad says one plays like him, the other plays like the mom. I know that. There's parts of each game. I think it's how much more I've seen of Matthew, especially in the playoffs. And with the Stanley Cup, and he just seems to always be around stuff that I would say Matthew, but Brady's not that far behind.
No, and I still think that there's a next level for Brady. I do. Yeah. I think that there's still another step to go. But I'm with you. I mean, it's not like I'm pissing on the other. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Mike at Mean Streets of Northville, did they run out of oat milk at the Starbucks? When Mike comes over, he always has to dodge gunfire. That's the way how we do. So listen, here's what we're doing, you guys. Saturday night, we're going to be here regardless. Like Mike and I just decided, and Coach Hunter, if you're still in the chat, we're going to have firecracker sausage. We're going to have loaded Italian sausage. I've got bacon jalapeno cheese sausage. I have Cajun chicken sausage, and I'm going to do probably about 5 half ricks of Duroc as well. So hopefully we can do that. Bill said I had a debate earlier with my friend who said that a larger Olympic-sized rink promotes more offense. I disagreed. What do you guys think? It's what the league wants. They want skating. They want more space, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think it's ever going to happen. And
the point when we talked about this last week that I brought up is that I agree. When you look at the European game is offense, Shawnee. When you look at the U.S. game, I think they would coach the offense right out of it, and it would not be what we think it would be.
Yep. I get what you're saying. All right, Mike. So I will see you Saturday. Unless you want to sit around and talk about the Lions schedule in a half hour, because I'm going to go pack a dip and probably have a couple beers and watch a little hockey, and then come back when we're going to talk about the Lions schedule. But if not, I will see you on Saturday, my friend. So you guys are coming over around 7. We'll one way or the other. If there's a game, we'll do it after the first period. If there's no game, we'll do it sooner rather than later.
Got it.
All right. Will you have buttered sausage? Probably. Great show, boys. Thank you. Who's bringing the Pepto or matches with all that gassy food? I got a bathroom. You know what, Mike? I don't think we've had any emergency bathroom breaks, have we? Have you? I don't think we've had any in any of our barbecues.
No, because you are so kind and you make sure to read the ingredients and you don't poison me. So we are always good. Now, 4 a.m. back at home, that's a different story.
Go Habs, go. Chris, les Canadiens sont là dans la Coupe Stanley 26. How's that? Is that good?
Yes.
Take care, fellas. Todd, I'll talk to you in a half hour, okay? God bless you. Keep hope alive.
What the Puck with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Always Pushing Forward by Elliot Middleton. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the unsyndicated podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.